Hello and welcome to this lecture in marketing management. Today we are going to discuss about an important concept of place decisions. The topic of today's lecture is place decisions, meaning, purpose, channel, alternatives and factors affecting channel choice. So, in the slides that I will take you through, we will discuss about what place means, and then we will discuss the concepts related to channels, how we develop channels, what are the factors which are influencing our channel choice, etc. So, let me begin the lecture with the first slide. First of all, let us understand the meaning of place in 4 P's. So, while discussing the marketing mix of a product, we have come across 4 P's, that is product, price, place and promotion. Our emphasis in this lecture would be on place and what do we understand exactly by place. So, let me read out the first point here, which says that in the marketing mix, the process of moving products from the producer to the intended user is called place. So, here the place is not a physical place, it is not referred to in the sense of a physical place, it is actually the method in which the products are being made available to the consumers. So, there is a process through which the products are moving and these are reaching the end consumers, and this is called place. So, the method of distribution or how the products are brought to the consumer and where exactly the consumers go and purchase them, that is what we mean by place in this concept of marketing. So, in other words, it is how the products are brought and where it is brought. So, it can be a physical marketplace, it can be an online marketplace, it can be a telephone order, it can be a mail order. So, place refers to the manner of distribution and how the products are made available to the consumer. Place signifies the distribution part. So, here we cover this. It is the distribution part which is a very important part of marketing, because products after being manufactured are not to be kept in the warehouse for a very long time. The products are meant to be sold in the market, and therefore, they have to reach the market where they are available with the retailers, so that the customers can go to the retailers and purchase these products. This movement could be through a combination of intermediaries such as distributors, wholesalers and retailers. So, we will understand the meaning of this word intermediaries also. Intermediaries are the activity, the organizations which perform the activity of moving the goods or the products from the manufacturer to the consumer. So, we have a lot of intermediaries in between. The major intermediaries are 3, which are distributors, wholesalers and last but not the least, retailers. Now, retailer is an extremely important intermediary, because retailer is the last intermediary in the supply chain, and retailer is the intermediary that is directly connected with the consumer. So, consumer goes to the retailer and purchases the product. In the modern times, internet has also emerged as a place. So, we all know how popular internet has become now, and with the advent of 4G internet and with the advent of smartphones, and now the smartphone is being held by more number of people with each passing year. So, internet has also become a huge marketplace, and a lot of people prefer shopping online. So, therefore, in the place sense, we can also include online selling of the products. So, online marketplace is also a place where products are being made available. Moving to the second slide, meaning and purpose of distribution channel. So, we have 2 points here, very 2 important points. The first point says that a channel of distribution comprises of a set of institutions which perform all the activities utilized to move a product and its title from the production to the consumption. So, this definition of a distribution channel, was given by Buckland in his book The Theory of Distribution Channel Structure, which was published in 1966. Now, this is a very important and a very complete definition, which says that a distribution channel actually is consisting of a series of organizations, and these organizations are performing the task or the activities for moving the product and its title from production to consumption. So, on the production side, we have the manufacturer, and on the consumption side we have the consumer. So, the product is being moved from the production side to the consumption side, to the consumer side, and not only the product, but its title also passes on. Now, what do we exactly mean by title? Title means ownership. So, when we talk about a physical product, the ownership of the physical product also passes on from the distributor to the wholesaler, from the wholesaler to the retailer, and finally from the retailer to the consumer. So, the physical product as well as its ownership passes on, and the product also passes on from the production to the consumption side. So, all the organizations which facilitate the movement of the product from the production to the consumption are actually intermediaries, and a distribution channel comprises of a manufacturer at one end and there is the consumer at the other end, and between the manufacturer and the consumer there is a series of intermediaries, and then there are some other organizations such as transporters, such as agents. So, all these organizations and all these individuals help the movement of the product from the production to the consumption side, and they together constitute what we call as a distribution channel. The objective of the distribution channel, the objective is to, now there are fourfold objectives. The objective is to make the products available in the right place, at the right time, in the right quantities and at the right cost. So, these are the fourfold objectives of a distribution channel. It emphasizes on making the products available at the right place first of all. So, if the right place is not created or the products are not made available at the right place, then there will be a lot of inconvenience to the consumers to purchase the product. Second thing that matters is that the product should be made available to the consumer at the right time. So, if the product is demanded by the consumer at a particular point of time, it should be made available to him in order to fulfill his or her need. Then the third thing that matters is that the product should be available in the right quantity. So, if the products are not available in the right quantity in the market, then there can be either shortages or then can be an excess of products in the market, and both the conditions are not conducive, both the conditions are bad. So, if the products are not available and the demand is very high, so the prices will go up and only those with a lot of money will be able to purchase. While if the product is in excess in the market and people have less demand, so in that case the product would be lying idle, and then there would be huge loss to retailers, huge loss to wholesalers and also to the manufacturer. So, it should be, this is a part, this is a measurement part. The manufacturer has to take care that right quantities of the product are available in the market, and last but not the least, this has to be done at the right cost. So, this is the price part. So, the price part has already been taken care in the pricing lecture. So, it should be made available to the consumer at a price at which the consumer is ready to accept the product and purchase it. So, the best price is the price that is acceptable to both to the consumer as well as to the manufacturer. Now, we talk about certain functions of distribution channel. So, the three important heads here are transactional functions, logistical functions and facilitating functions. So, one by one let me elaborate these transactional, logistical as well as facilitating functions. When we talk about transactional functions, we are basically talking about placing orders with the manufacturers, negotiating price and financing inventories. Now, these are the tasks which are performed by a distribution channel members. So, these are the tasks which are performed by intermediaries, and therefore, we are calling it functions of distribution channel, because distribution channel, as we have already discussed, comprises of a series of intermediaries. So, some of these tasks are performed by the distributors, some of these tasks are performed by the wholesaler, some of these tasks are performed by the retailers. So, these are the tasks which are performed by the intermediaries, and it includes placing of orders with the manufacturer. So, distributor or the wholesaler might place order with the manufacturer that the distributor or the wholesaler needs so and so quantity of the product. Then the intermediaries also negotiate price. So, there can be price negotiations as to the price on which they need the product to be sold, And then there could be financing of inventories. So, inventories here means stock. So, if the product has to be stocked somewhere at some warehouse, then there can be certain intermediaries who can come forward to finance the stock on certain commission or certain profit basis. Then there can be certain logistical function. Now, logistical function are those functions which are directly related with the movement of the product. So, the physical movement of the product has to take place. It is manufactured at one place, and from there it has to be brought to the market, where it has to finally reach the retail stores, from where it can be sold to the consumers. So, logistical functions are those functions which are directly related with the movement of the products. So, storage and movement of physical product, and not only the storage and movement of physical product, but also the overseen function of transfer of ownership. So, the product on its way to the consumers changes hands so many times. So, from the manufacturer, the product's ownership passes on to the distributor. From the distributor, the product ownership can be passed on to the wholesaler. From the wholesaler, the product ownership passes on to the retailers, and from the retailers, finally the ownership passes on to the consumers. So, by the time the product reaches the consumers, it changes hands many times. So, it is the function of the intermediaries or the distribution channel members to oversee the function as to how the product is changing hands from one entity to the other, and finally it reaches the consumer. Then there can be certain auxiliary functions, or what we call as facilitating functions. Now, these facilitating functions are information gathering and disbursement and establish persuasive communication. The intermediaries are responsible for information gathering and disbursement, and this information is passed on to the consumers, as well as the information is passed on from the consumers to the manufacturer. So, there is a two-way flow of information in a distribution channel, and information flow is an extremely important objective, or rather a task or a function of distribution channel. So, without the proper flow of information, the consumers would not be much aware about the product. Without proper flow of information, the manufacturers would not be aware of what the consumer actually needs. So, the proper flow of information is highly required in a distribution channel. So, to sum up, these are the various tasks which are performed by the distribution channel, or functions which are performed by the distribution channel. Now, let me move ahead. Now, these are certain levels of distribution channel. So, I have a diagram on my right side, while there are certain channel levels which are mentioned on the left side. So, let us take a careful look at this diagram. Here, on the one hand, there is the producer or the manufacturer, and on the other hand, there is the consumer. So, these are the two extremities of a distribution channel. Now, the diagram which is just next to it shows that between a producer and a consumer, there is a retailer. So, when there is just one entity between a producer and a consumer, that is the retailer, then it is called level 1 channel. So, here this is the level 1 channel, here we can say this is the level 1 channel, while if we observe this extreme left diagram, there is no entity between the producer and the consumer. So, when there is no entity between the producer and the consumer, then it is called level 0 channel. When there are two entities between the producer and the consumer, like we have here the wholesaler as well as the retailer. So, here we have, this is called the level 2 channel, where there are two entities between the producer and the consumer. So, in certain countries we have the concept of wholesaler and retailer, while in certain countries we have the concept of distributor, and then there is a retailer, and finally there is the consumer. So, even this is I should say level 2 channel. So, I can extend this arrow up till here, because there are only two entities between the producer or the manufacturer and the consumer. While in case of a level 3 channel, we have three entities here. So, we have the number 1 entity as agent, the number 2 entity is the wholesaler or the distributor, and the number 3 entity is the retailer. So, in this case we are seeing that between the producer or the manufacturer and the consumer, there are 3 entities or 3 organizations involved. So, from this we can conclude that the level of a channel is equal to the number of organizations or the number of independent entities which are involved in taking the product from the manufacturer towards the consumer. So, if there are no entities involved, it is a level 0 channel. If one entity is involved, such as the retailer, it is level 1 channel. If 2 entities are involved, either distributor or and retailer or wholesaler and retailer, then it will be called a level 2 channel. And in case of a level 3 channel, another entity such as an agent or a broker may be involved apart from the distributor and the retailer. So, this precisely sums up channel level. So, let me draw the arrow for level 3 channel. So, here we have the level 3 channel. Now, we can take examples also. So, suppose if we talk about a antivirus software. Now, an antivirus software can be purchased online, and it can be, the software can be directly downloaded and installed in the computer. So, there is no intermediary between the software manufacturer and the consumer. So, that would be an example of level 0 channel, where there is no intermediary involved. While in case of a level 1 channel, we can take the example of an Ayurveda manufacturing unit called Patanjali. So, in case of Patanjali, they are manufacturing the Ayurvedic products, and then they are selling the Ayurvedic products through their dedicated stores, and the consumers are going to the stores and buying it. So, it means there is only a retailer which is involved between the producer and the consumer. So, that will be level 1 channel. Now, if we talk about level 2 channel, we can think about a wholesaler and a retailer. So, a Patanjali wholesaler would keep the products in various retail stores, and if the consumers are going to the various retail stores and purchasing Patanjali products, then this will be an example of level 2 channel. And likewise, if one more entity gets involved, such as an agent, or if it is like distributor, then wholesaler, then retailer, so it will be an example of level 3 channel. Okay, let us move ahead and let us discuss about why intermediaries are used, or why are intermediaries important. So, the question here is that in a distribution channel, we have seen that there are a lot of intermediaries. What is their significance? Why are intermediaries used, and why are they important? So, the first reason is that intermediaries are extremely expert in doing their job. So, therefore, to harness their expertise, they are used. And when we talk about expertise, so there is a lot of learning. So, if we talk about a transporter, or let us say talk about a distributor, so a distributor is highly specialized in his task, and with the passage of time, with the learning that he has received after working in the market for years and years, he can do his task at a much lower cost. So, by using distributors, actually the distributor, the wholesaler and the retailers, by using all these experts, or rather all these intermediaries, the manufacturer also tends to lower down the cost, and these are experts in their areas because they have been doing their job since quite a long time, and therefore, there is a great learning, and with learning we know that learning curve brings down the cost. So, therefore, the very next objective is to lower down the distribution cost. So, like I have said that learning curve brings down cost, and therefore, the intermediaries might help the company in bringing down the cost. Then to use the resources efficiently, now because these intermediaries are experts, so resources are used much efficiently, and also for convenience. So, especially if we talk about an intermediary called retailer. So, a retailer creates a lot of convenience for the customer. A retailer also creates a lot of convenience for the manufacturer. By being in touch with the consumer directly, it creates a lot of convenience for the consumer, who can conveniently go and purchase products from the retail store, and it also creates a lot of convenience for the retailer, for the manufacturer, by giving the manufacturer extremely important information regarding consumers' purchase behavior. To consolidate small orders into large ones. So, these are many benefits which the intermediaries offer to the distribution process, and that is the reason why the intermediaries are extremely important and they are so widely used. Now, types of distributions, there are three types of distributions. One is the exclusive distribution. Now, exclusive distribution, we can also say that this is very rare. So, rare stores at prime locations or very few stores at very few locations. Now, there are certain products in case of which there are extremely less number of stores which are available only at specific places and only in specific cities. Now, such kind of a distribution is called exclusive distribution, where there are rare stores or very few stores at very few prime locations. Then there can be selective distribution. In selective distribution, in certain cities there are less number of stores, in certain places there are more number of stores. So, number of stores are more than that in the case of exclusive distribution. So, here we have the number of stores which are more than that in case of exclusive distribution. So, this is a bit dense than exclusive distribution. So, here there can be certain dedicated stores also, while the product might be available at certain retail stores also. So, there is a range of stores which is available for the consumers to visit and purchase the product. While in case of intensive distribution, the product has got a wide availability. So, here we can mention wide product availability, and this happens because the stores are scattered almost everywhere. So, the product is very easily available. So, in case of intensive distribution, we can take the example of Coca-Cola or Pepsi. Even if we go to rural areas, the Coca-Cola and Pepsi cold drinks are available in rural stores also. And if we talk about cities, then almost in every departmental store, Coca-Cola and Pepsi are very conveniently available. So, therefore, intensive distribution contributes to the convenience of the consumers. Selective distribution, in case of selective distribution, the products might be available at dedicated stores as well as they might be available at some other retail stores also. While in case of exclusive distribution, there are very few stores where the products are available, and these stores only are the ones that cater to the demand of the customers. Then we talk about multi-channel marketing. So, this is the era of multi-channel marketing. The today's era is of multi-channel marketing, and all the successful companies today, they actually employ multi-channel or hybrid channel marketing. Multi-channel means using more than one distribution channel. So, by employing multi-channel marketing, what happens is that when a single firm uses two or more channels to reach customers, it is called multi-channel marketing. As the name suggests, multi means more than one. For example, we can consider the case of Patanjali, like I was talking to you. So, Patanjali products are available at dedicated Patanjali stores. So, there are dedicated Patanjali stores across the cities where the consumer can go and purchase Patanjali products. While apart from the dedicated stores, Patanjali products are also available on some selected retail shops. So, Patanjali products are available with multi-brand retailers, and these are organized multi-brand retailers who have set up Patanjali kiosks in their store or their malls where Patanjali products can be purchased. And the third way of getting Patanjali products is to order those products online. So, basically there are two channels, the offline channel and the online channel. And in the offline channel, we have the dedicated store concept as well as we have the departmental store concept, where Patanjali products are available at the departmental stores, where they have given a separate shelf to Patanjali products from where consumers can go and purchase the products. So, multi-channel distribution strategy actually creates a lot of convenience to the consumers, because the convenience, the consumers who want to purchase the product online from the conveniences of their homes, they can also buy the products online. They can simply order on the website, while the consumers who want to go out and purchase the product from retail stores can do so. So, it creates a lot of convenience for the consumers and lot of opportunities for the marketer to sell the product. Then there are 5 channel flows. So there is the physical flow of the product, and we can see in the diagram that the physical flow of the product always takes place from the manufacturer to the consumer. So here we have the manufacturer and here we have the consumer, and this is the direction in which the product flows. So physical flow takes place from the manufacturer towards the consumer, and the title flow also, title flow is called the ownership flow, and the title flow also goes on like this only. So ownership flow or the title flow is also taking place in the same direction. Then when we talk about the payment flow is otherwise. So if we talk about the payment flow takes place from the consumer to the manufacturer. So if this is the payment flow, then the direction is from consumers to the manufacturer. Here it is negotiation flow. Negotiation flow is both ways. So consumers negotiate with retailers and vice versa. Retailers negotiate with wholesalers and vice versa. Wholesalers negotiate with manufacturers and vice versa. So the negotiation flow is two-way, while the payment flow goes on from the consumers towards the manufacturer. And we are left with 2 more flows, that is information flow and promotion flow. So if we talk about information flow, so like we had discussed that information flows from the manufacturer towards the consumer as well as from the consumer towards the manufacturer. So here also we will observe that the flow is two-way, where the information is flowing vice versa from one entity to the other in both the direction. And last but not the least, the promotion flow happens vice versa again, because consumers by word of mouth do a lot of promotion, the manufacturers do a lot of promotion, the advertising agency and wholesalers etc. also do a lot of promotion. So therefore the promotion flow is also both ways. So I have encircled in red all those flows which are both ways, while for the others I have shown the direction through arrows. Then we have the channel alternatives. So the various channel alternatives which are available to the manufacturers or the companies are like this. So one of the biggest channel alternative is through Salesforce. So company hires salespeople, it creates sales team, it creates sales force, and then the sales force is supposed to sell the product of that company in the market. So this is one channel alternative, which is also called the direct marketing, because company's sales team directly contacts the consumer. Then there is second distribution, which is through agencies. So here agencies purchase products from the manufacturer, and agencies that purchase products from the manufacturer, from there on they are responsible for the further sales of the product and taking it to the consumer. So it is the agency that is involved, and agency takes the whole sole responsibility of selling the product in the market. A third type of distribution channel alternative is distribution through other intermediaries. In the other intermediaries we have the distributor, the wholesaler and the retailer. So if the sales is being done through distributor, via wholesaler, via retailer, and then finally the product is reaching to the consumer, so that is another alternative which is open to the company, and the company can employ this alternative also to take the product to the consumer. Last but not the least, in modern times we are also coming across online distribution channel, and with the passage of time the importance of this online distribution channel is increasing. So in the online distribution channel is through internet and email orders, and we can also count apps. So today one of the most convenient ways to order things is to install the app of the company and then purchase products using the apps of the company, which is the online channel alternative. So these were basically the channel alternatives which are available to the company, and now there are certain factors affecting channel choice. So basically there are 3 factors which are affecting the kind of channel that the company will go for. So the kind of channel the company will select for the distribution of its product are the economic factors, the control factors and the adaptability factors. So first of all, let us talk about the economic factors. Now economic factors would be directly related with profits and costs. So we have to maximize the demand at the lowest cost. So the company tries to lower down the cost as much as possible, while at the same time it tries to maximize the demand of the product in order to secure maximum revenue and maximize profits at the same time. So economic factors are more concerned with the demand and with the cost, and of course with the profits, which are the ultimate goal of the company. Then there are certain control factors. Now, control factors will impact channel choice. Control factors are basically the factors which are related with the amount or the degree of control a company can have over its channel members. Now, this is an important point, because if the company or the organization or the manufacturer is not having control over the intermediaries, then this can really impact the flow of the goods, and this can really impact the entire distribution process. So, a company must aim to exercise reasonable control over its intermediaries, so that the products can reach the consumers at the right time, in the right quantity, at the right place, and at the right price. So, control factors are about exercising proper control over the distribution channel or distribution channel members. Then last but not the least, we have the adaptability factors. Adaptability factors are the factors which are concerned with the flexibility in the structure of the channel, and how the channel can adapt itself with the change in time and with the change in marketing environment. So, every company aims for a flexible structure in channel, so that if any adjustments are required because of the changing dynamics of marketing environment, those adjustments and those changes can be done quickly. Let us give a quick recap to what we discussed in this lecture so far. We started with the meaning of place, as in the sense of 4P, and then we came down to the meaning of purpose of distribution channel. We said that distribution channel is actually a series of intermediaries, and then we studied the intermediaries and the types of distribution, the multi-channel marketing, and the 5-channel flows, and finally we came to the various channel alternatives and factors affecting channel choice. With this, I come to the end of this lecture. Thank you so much.